How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Mojo Group. Mike here. Mosaic is here. It is here, guys. And I'm personally excited. I know that the pilot community is super excited as well, particularly if you are a sport pilot and you can't pass medical. You should be shouting for joy for Mosaic. So last year, I updated you guys on what's happening with Mosaic. Actually, during Oshkosh in July, the FAA literally announced to the world that this is happening, and so they've promised that we're going to get an update in the coming months. Particularly, we're looking at later this year, maybe as early as July or potentially in the fall in October, somewhere around there. But this is what's happening. Although we're still waiting for the FAA to do their thing, understand that the industry is already gearing up for these new changes. And so if you look at some of the aircraft that I've reviewed on the channel, these are complex light airplanes that generally would not be in this market, in the US market. But manufacturers are taking notes and they're building their new products to satisfy what is to come. You have now light sport airplanes that are going to get heavier. You have Rotax releasing the Rotax 916 engine. If you've watched Mojo Grip, you know that I practically fly Rotax engine. I love the 915. It's one of the smoothest engines that I've ever flown behind. And so the 916 will be an improvement from the 915. You have a higher TBO, you have better performance with it, and it is also turbocharged. So you have manufacturers already spending millions of dollars to produce new products that will match the new Mosaic rules. If you're new to the channel, my name is Mike. I'm an instrument rated pilot and an airplane buff. I eat, sleep this stuff, okay? And if you're new to the Mosaic, I'll just brief it out for you. Right now in the pilot community, if you wanted to get a license to fly, first, make sure you check out lookupflightschool.com. That is my own flight school, and we can get you your sport pilot license, private pilot, or get you your commercial, all the way from zero to commercial if you want to get paid to fly. Okay, that's lookupflightschool.com. Generally speaking, you have a sport pilot license and a private pilot license. With a sport pilot, you're very limited to what you can do as a pilot. Flight rules are limited. You can't fly at night. You can't fly past a certain distance. And you're also limited to the category of airplanes that you can fly. So that's the light sport airplane category. These are generally smaller two-seaters, smaller engines. You can't go faster than 120 knots. The stall speed, I believe right now, is at 45 knots. So any airplane that will stall beyond 45 knots cannot even be flown by sport pilots or be in the sport pilot aircraft category. So you have all these limitations. That is the current rule. But with the new Mosaic rules, all of that is going to be blown out. And I say blown out because check out these numbers. One, you're going to have much higher speeds with the airplane, so you can have an airplane that can fly up to 250 knots. Now, that is also correlated with the stall speed. So the new proposed stall speed is 54 knots. If you can stall the airplane within 54 knots, then you can have speeds up to 250 knots. Also, the weight of the aircraft. Right now, with the light sport category, you're limited to 1,320 pounds. That is the maximum gross weight for these light planes. With the Mosaic, you can have up to 3,000 pounds. Again, this is correlated with the stall speed of the airplane. Keep that in mind. So all these good things are happening or are supposed to happen with the new Mosaic rules. That said, some players are going to be left holding the bag when Mosaic passes, which is what I really want to discuss in this video. So we have some good things happening. You have some players and mostly pilots who will benefit from these new rules, but there are going to be some losers, big losers, when Mosaic passes. The first big loser of Mosaic are traditional aircraft manufacturers. Let me explain. Right now, you have the Cessnas and Pipers of the world that create entry-level airplanes. So the 172s, 182s, you have your Piper Cherokees, and so on and so forth. These guys are going to be left holding the bag with new airplanes. With the used market, I think Cessna will benefit, but really Cessna is not benefiting. The private pilots and owners of these airplanes will benefit because the demand for used Cessnas and Pipers and Moonies will continue to go up. Reason being, with these new rules, these planes can now be in the light sport category because their weight limitation, speed, all of that will fall into that basket. So more than likely, you're going to have a higher demand for the used airplanes, which on the flip side, newer airplanes, maybe not so much. This will come down to affordability, but also heavy competition. Again, I mentioned you have light airplane manufacturers who are already gearing up for the Mosaic to pass, and these guys are spending millions of dollars in creating new modern airplanes that will completely outpace the 172s of the world in performance, in capabilities, all the good stuff. So it will be very tough for our traditional airplane manufacturers to sell an old design, old engine, lower performance at the same price or more pricier than lighter airplanes that will completely outshine them. So I see the traditional airplane manufacturers holding the bag big time when Mosaic passes. Number two, light sport aircraft manufacturers will also lose big. Not all of them. What I see happen is that you have some light aircraft manufacturers who are doing nothing, absolutely nothing to prepare for Mosaic passes. These are your Evektors of the world, Flight Design, Sportcruiser. When I look at these airplanes, although they're fairly new and modern, but they're just limited. They're capped off in engine options and design and everything. Over the years, you have these making models revamp their interior and avionics, which is great, but performance-wise, the airplane is pretty much still the same. Matter of fact, performance-wise, these airplanes have gotten heavier over the years, meaning you have less useful load, you have less speed, and the list goes on. So except they start adhering to what's happening and they start creating new options for performance and for capabilities for these standard planes, chances are they're going to lose out with the high competition from other players who are entering the market, aka the TL Sparker, which we just reviewed, comes with retracts, great cross-country airplane, great range, useful load is out of the water here, right? And right now, a plane like the Sparker is in the experimental category, but guess what? Sooner or later, when a Mosaic passes, that airplane will fit right in as a light sport aircraft. You also have JMB Evolution. Guess what? Retract, all the goodies you could possibly get, turbocharge, also fast. Right now, that airplane is an experimental. When Mosaic passes, that airplane will be a light sport aircraft. So for our traditional players who have not done anything or any improvements to their airplanes over the years, if they don't start, they will lose out when Mosaic rules passes. And the last player that I think will lose big in this whole equation is Cirrus. I hate to say it, but Cirrus is on the verge of losing out when Mosaic passes. This is the reason why. We covered the all-new Cirrus SR22, the Generation 7, which they released just a couple of weeks ago. And this is great. It's great for airplane enthusiasts, any owners, anyone who's dreamed about flying a nice, capable piston airplane. But here's the thing. A Cirrus airplane costs $1 million, or a little over $1 million, which in one way cuts out a good bit of the market. Now, Cirrus has done an excellent job in getting new pilots into aviation. They've targeted their market and they've marketed the crap out of that airplane, and they've done well. They've done well over the years. But what do you do when you have new players coming into the market that are creating airplanes that will stand head to head with an SR22 in capabilities, in performance, and engine options, in some ways even pressurized, and cost half the price. So Cirrus may have a high competition problem on their hands. The fact is, when Mosaic passes, you're going to have more players building airplanes. A lot of light sport airplanes will have improvements, and a lot of experimental airplanes will now become certified. And these are generally factory built. Even though they're categorized currently as experimental, they are factory built. And so you have all of these players now come into the market, which will be great for pilots and the end consumer. But for a player like Cirrus, they have, or they may have, a problem on their hands, because if a pilot have the option to spend 300, 400,000 or $500,000, they will, compared to them spending over $1 million for the same equipment. So this is why I think Cirrus will be one of the biggest losers when Mosaic passes. I could be wrong. They may release maybe a more affordable airplane in the future. I don't see that happening. And Cirrus may just move ahead and cancel out their piston and just focus on the jet category. I don't know. But I do see them having a problem once Mosaic passes. So that is my update for this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to check out the sponsor for this video, lookupflightschool.com. If you've ever dreamed about flying, or you want to get your pilot's license or an additional rating, or get paid to fly airplanes, make sure you check out our program. We can take you from zero all the way to commercial pilot within a year. Okay, check us out at lookupflightschool.com. The demo flight is on us. It's on the house. Make sure you come through and we'll take you up, see how the airplane feels, and start your own pilot journey. Okay, hope to catch you on the next video. Subscribe to the channel if this is your first time. Again, my name is Mike. Peace.